I've been letting you lead the charge, man.
Wow. I can't believe it. You all beat me.
Well, I always beat you.
I didn't mean, intellectually.
Physically.
Touche.
All right, let's see. Let's start with 467.
Senate Bill 467 and the next bill, House Bill 561. These are cross files that are in the same posture. The bill, as introduced, extends the mandated funding for the Maryland Child Care Credential Program. This is a program administered by MSDE to provide program development, professional development, certifications for child care workers in the state. You have an amended version at your desk, I believe, of the Senate version. They're the same, though. The amended version would extend the funding of $5.687 million. It would extend that funding for fiscal year 28 through 30. The House included in the fiscal 27 budget this exact amount, so it's level funding it for it's in 27, and then this would mandate it for 28 through 30.
Okay. All those in favor of both of those bills in that posture,
I have one question, Mr. Chair.
please.
How do we get to that exact amount? What does that mean?
So in 2021, when the program was established, it was funded at $4 million to increase 10% each year for fiscal year 22, 23, 24. So the 2024 number, that's what the 2024 number is. And then in subsequent years after in the statute, they wrote it in as funded at the fiscal year 2024 level. They didn't specify a number, but that is the number. So just for clarity, it's drafted just to the actual number. And that's the number that the House included in the budget this year.
And is it a certain amount of participants that we're trying to get to that number?
No, they use all of that money each year.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Senator King, of course. And then 644 and 933.
Senate Bill 644 and House Bill 933 are cross files. In the 2025 BRFA, the sales and use tax was expanded to cover digital and IT services. The BRFA included language for multiple points of use certificates to address concerns of companies with locations that are in and outside of Maryland. And this relieved vendors of the obligation to collect the sales tax on transactions made out of Maryland. This bill is to provide clarity on that process. The bill alters provisions of the state sales and use tax regarding multiple points of use certificates for the purchase and use of specified digital codes, digital products, and taxable data and information. The House bill was amended. The amendments provide for the application for and denial, renewal, and revocation of authorization for a buyer to issue multiple points of use certificates. It provides for the validation and the rescission of the certificates and requires an authorized buyer to provide a vendor the certificate, and the vendor verifies the certificate in a certain manner with the comptroller's office. And the bill also delays the effective date.
Okay. Questions? All those in favor of both those bills?
Aye.
Opposed? Senator King. All right, 139.
House Bill 139 is a bill that you've heard previously. It's cross-filed with Senate Bill 9. The bill as, the House Bill 139 as drafted has two differences from the Senate bill. The bill as originally drafted had a provision that would allow the comptroller at her discretion to suspend the tax-free day. This bill removes that. And the bill as drafted, as you passed Senate Bill 9, allowed for $2,000 worth of goods to be purchased with the tax exempt for the tax-free day, and this bill reduced that amount to $250. So each item, $250 or less, would be tax-free.
Is that the posture you put this bill in? Where,
I'll do whatever.
no, I'm just trying to understand. Is it,
I'm just, that's what the House did.
okay, but I see you have an amendment
As-
on here.
As the Budget and Tax Committee passed the bill, it was in its original posture. So whichever is the will of the committee, I'll do.
So the differences are 2,000 or 250.
Yes.
We had 2,000, they have 250. What else?
And the other difference is the Senate bill allowed the comptroller in the comptroller's discretion to suspend the tax-free day. This bill removed that language.
So the House said
The House.
they don't have that, she doesn't have that discretion.
Correct.
$250 versus 2,000.
Yes?
You buy for $250. A lot of money.
Okay,
Take the
so
House,
there's a,
suspend it,
what's that?
and then take the House provisional, not allowing the suspension. Only one day.
Okay, there's a proposal. Anybody, or is everyone good with that, or are there other issues or thoughts?
The trigger for the suspension was it the economy plus or like,
There was just, it doesn't have any guidelines in the bill as to what would trigger the comptroller suspending it.
is it a sunset on it or no, this is a perpetuity?
I don't remember there being a sunset on this. I don't think there is a sunset. But I can check in real quick and verify that.
I just say the trigger must have been in there for something. I don't mind the 2,000 piece of it, but I do think that we got tough years in front of us, and being mindful of that is important.
Okay, yes?
If we could just follow through with the 2,000. And have a sunset for 7 years, and if there's effect in that, we can stop it or we can continue it.
We could do a sunset. Yes?
I'm good with the Senate posture. That's what we already voted out. Felt good about it then. I feel good about it now.
Okay. All right, let's do it. Put it in the same posture. Everybody agree with that?
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Did you have that, Bill?
I will.
Who, yeah, did you have it?
I don't recall if I did or not.
Well, whoever had it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I did have it. I'm sorry.
I thought you did, yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah. He's kicking you. All right. All right. 175. We got that out of the rules yesterday. 175. Right.
Okay. Senate Bill 175 doubles from $300 to $600 the limit on the amount of venison donation tax credits an individual may claim. The bill takes effect July 1, 2026, and remains effective until the termination of 2024. Chapter Law 770 of 2024 is scheduled to terminate on June 30th, 2029. This bill is cross-filed with Senate Bill 961. So, but this bill is in a different posture than that bill. The Senate Bill 691, the amount of the claim is $600. The House reduced it to $300. It's the same.
Other than that, that's the,
Other than that, that's the difference in the bill.
okay, do you want to just keep it in the Senate posture?
Yeah.
Okay. All's in favor? Opposed? Senate bill. Senator Starling. Okay, 195.
House Bill 195, this bill authorizes the State Lottery Gaming Control Commission to conduct studies in collaboration with Bowie State, Morgan, and the Center of Excellence on Problem Gambling. It establishes a work group to study and identify trends in emerging technology to ascertain the extent of the problem gambling on college campuses. And the work group is to study best practices in using gambling prevention technology.
Okay. Was there a cross?
There was no crossfire.
Okay. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed?
I can take that.
I already had to bring you down.
My teammate.
I know. 289. And then we had this one.
Okay, Senate Bill 289 is the same as Senate Bill 176 that was cross-filed, that passed. The departmental bill allows the Central Collection Unit to certify a debt or claim owed to the state and the responsible debtor to a video lottery operator for prize interception. There are two amendments, and the amendments conform language among the various prize interception statutes. Both bills are in the same posture.
That's easy. All those in favor? Opposed? Whoever had that. 363.
House Bill 363 is identical to Senate Bill 468 that passed the Senate unanimously earlier this session. This bill authorizes a county to provide by law for a grant modeled on the state child tax credit. There is an amendment that at the comptroller's request that strikes language requiring a county to reimburse certain expenses to the comptroller.
So there is a difference then.
The House should be taking up the same amendment. The amendment came from the
On
comptroller's
this,
office.
they're putting it on the Senate bill.
Correct.
Okay. All those in favor as amended? Opposed? Who had that bill? Huh? Okay.
Yes.
Who?
Queen.
Who? Oh.
But there is a queen.
All right, 7:53.
House Bill 753 is making some modifications to the tax sale process. The bill adds an exemption for tax sale for the dwelling of a homeowner who has a terminal illness or medical hardship. There is required documentation to be provided along with that, as well as requiring the Department of Assessments and Taxation in consultation with MDH to define terminal illness and medical hardship. The bill also modifies the eligibility in the homeowner protection program by increasing the value of a dwelling from $300,000 to $450,000. That's consistent with other legislation you all passed about, I think, heirs. And then the bill also authorizes homeowners to designate either a family member or another representative to both apply for that exemption as well as receive notice in the homeowner protection program. There is one amendment that came up when this was previously discussed. As introduced, the bill requires the documentation to be by a physician who has treated or examined the homeowner. The amendment you have before you would strike physician and substitute licensed healthcare provider.
Okay. As amended, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
That was
That
not cross-filed.
What's that?
That was not cross-filed.
Yeah, no. That was Jennings' amendment, wasn't it?
No, that was mine.
That was yours? Okay, lucky you.
There you go.
All right. Public facilities bond. 927. I assume the same posture, local thing. All those in favor? Opposed? Whoever had that. 805.
Okay, this was held from our last voting session. There was a question on whether the credit applies to the nonprofit entity or the buyer of the home, and the credit applies to the nonprofit entity, so the Habitat for Humanity or a similar organization.
Mr. Chair, I wasn't here for the last voting session. I think this deals with home ownership. I would like it if it does deal with home ownership, but just to be clear, so if I could hold it just to get a little bit more detail to dig into it.
Okay. Hold. 1139. This is just the joint pensions, right?
Yeah, there is an amendment, though. House Bill 1139, in its current posture, it is a matching cross-file. It's a Joint Committee on Pensions legislation that was kind of the annual clarifying administrative bill. There is an amendment on your desks. It's recently come up A few years ago, you all had made some clarifying changes. There's a list of positions that are eligible for immediate vesting in the state retirement and pension systems. Came to our attention recently that there is a position that's currently specified that should no longer be included. And so the amendment you have on your desks would make that corrective change. And my understanding is the House should be considering the same amendment.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Senator Lewis Young. Please.
So it took out that special secretary of the office of small business. That doesn't exist anymore.
Well, it was when Department of Social and Economic Mobility was created, formerly GOSBA was put under that umbrella, and the criteria for the immediate vesting is that someone needs to be head of a unit.
Right, but I'm asking, that's what I was asking, is do we also have them in the list?
So the current,
The SO, you know what I'm talking about?
yeah, current
Local-
statute has a provision that references if somebody is a head of a unit.
Okay.
The specified list were kind of.
If they were not in a head position.
Not so much. There were some units where they were kind of not necessarily a principal unit, but kind of more elevated. And so GOSBA used to.
Okay, that's
when
all I
it
was
independent.
wondering.
And so now
So that new unit, because it's a secretary position, the secretary there
it should, yes.
automatically is inside the provision.
It should, yes. Yeah, there's a provision referencing the state government section that has all
All right, thank you.
This is the amendment you talking about?
well, current law, and then the amendment is addressing an issue where the reorganization made that current law inconsistent with the policy. So it's fixing the current law by removing that position by being specifically referenced, because now it's underneath.
Me asking this too.
Yeah.
No, I get that part, but I just wasn't sure because there is the new position and it's not listed. I just didn't know the law.
Yeah,
So
had
that's
to
just
be
helpful
had
to
to be units.
understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My understanding is that position is also currently vacant
The
in the amendment.
one.
Okay. You already voted on that one. So now we're on to 1176.
All right, House Bill 1176, this was also held from last time. I read the wrong summary last time, so I'm pretty sure I've got the right one this time.
I hope so.
This bill requires the Howard County Executive, in submission of the annual budget to the Howard County Council, to indicate in writing the percentage of the county's general fund revenue, excluding one-time expenses, that is allocated to the operating budget of the Howard County Board of Education and operating costs associated with the Howard County Public School System, including pension obligations, employee and retiree benefits, debt service, school, student safety, and transportation. The committee has a letter of support.
That one's the right one.
I did it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I guess I have to take that one. All right. 1232.
All right, House Bill 1232, this should look familiar. This committee already passed the Senate cross-file, and last week, this committee also moved this bill, but I was alerted after that voting session that there was an amendment that Ways and Means was adding on to the Senate bill, a clarifying amendment. So you should have a copy of that amendment on your desk here. That amendment makes this bill an emergency bill and adds the 10-year sunset, which was the same as last time, but there's also language that clarifies that the pilot agreements that are entered into under this bill are not terminated with the sunset. And the committee has a local letter of support. It's in the same posture as the Senate bill.
Good?
Yes. Just in a different posture.
Well, Ways and Means was amending it to,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
Ways and Means.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Corey? $12.79.
House Bill 1279 expands the catalytic revitalization credit program to include workforce housing. Under the bill, affordable housing and both affordable housing and workforce housing would be included in the process of the tax credit program.
That's the same posture.
This.
There was no
wasn't a
crossfire?
No.
Really? I feel like we heard this before. Maybe I must have talked to him. Yeah, please.
I just looked at the committee testimony, and there's no comment from DHCD. Do we have any idea where they are on this? And there's just very few folks testifying. I'm just curious if you have any sense of.
No, I don't know. I reviewed the testimony in the House, and they didn't testify on the bill.
Do you mind if we hold this?
It's fine.
Look into it a little bit. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, 1330.
All right, House Bill 1330, this is another one that was held from our voting session last time. There was a question about whether SDAT supported the bill. SDAT does support the bill. In fact, the idea for the bill came from Director Yeager. The bill, just to briefly summarize it, authorizes someone to apply for the homeowner's property tax credit year-round rather than having the October cutoff.
Questions?
Favorable.
All those in favor? Opposed?
Look not the way.
Who wants to do something? Oh, look at that. A volunteer.
See, the star people.
Yeah.
Greg.
All right, 1611.
Okay, House Bill 1611. This makes changes to the same property tax credit that Senate Bill 980 did, that passed this committee and passed the Senate unanimously. It is making alterations to the same tax credit, but it's doing different things. My understanding is that the House is going to amend Senate Bill 980 to match this. And what this does is it alters the eligibility criteria for the local option property tax credit for specified disabled veterans and surviving spouses. It repeals the requirement that a disabled veteran's federal adjusted gross income for the immediate preceding taxable year may not exceed $100,000. It instead sets that limit at $150,000 for a single filer and $300 for a joint. Yeah.
And so did we not have those settings?
What we did was we got rid of the income criteria altogether.
And what about the value? What did you say, what was the 300,000?
That's for the joint filers. Their income cannot exceed that.
Oh, we got rid of that entirely.
We got rid of
Yeah.
income limitations altogether.
Yeah, I mean, and I was gonna say, I like that better because I don't know why we prescribe that kind of stuff. It's up to it's the county issue or local issue, but. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Yeah, Senate bill. All those in favor? Okay.
Yeah, we can bring back up House Bill 805.
Okay. So you have that one. You had that before? Okay, 805. Okay,
I'll speak to it too.
please.
I didn't know what the bill was doing, but my district has been a great benefactor off of these mortgages. That I only know one organization that does it is Habitat for Humanity. We just saw recently in Orchard Ridge where they're doing these zero interest loans, trying to figure out how do you create generational wealth from that standpoint. So the homeowner is benefiting, but also the developer is creating these vehicles where you get a greater path towards homeownership. So I'm in full support of it. And like I said, I've been benefactor, my constituents wise.
Okay. So then, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, you can certainly speak to that,
I could. It's a good.
and you will. All right, that does it for this morning. We're already late for the next thing.